Since you hit play on Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast today, I want to make sure that you know that our free self-love challenge is happening in February 2024 right here on the podcast. The goal of this challenge is to make creating an intentional practice of self-love even easier than ever simply by plugging in your earbuds and listening for about 10 minutes per day. But for the full experience, you're going to want to get the scorecard so you can enter the giveaways, get the daily journal prompts sent to your inbox, and join us for the live wrap-up podcast recording. Yes, you get to join me in the studio and record the podcast together live. It is all free. Go to wifeteachermommy.com/self-love challenge to sign up. Again, it is completely free. You'll get a daily reminder with the free 10-minute coaching each day and your journal prompt, and you will see a transformation over these 14 days. It is not only going to impact your relationship with yourself, but as I'll teach during the challenge, it is going to impact every single other relationship you have in your life, your relationship with other people, your relationship with teaching. That energy is going to impact every single other aspect of your life. So sign up at wifeteachermommy.com/self-love challenge. It's free. Now let's get to the episode. You are listening to episode number 73 of Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. 3 summer reading challenge strategies for kids. Want to help your students or your own kids avoid the summer slide? A summer reading challenge is one great way to do that. And if you use these 3 tips that I'm about to tell you, the kids will love it. Welcome to Wife Teacher Mommy, the podcast. I'm Kelsey Sorensen, a former elementary teacher and current homeschool mom. And even though I've been a resource creator since 2014, I've realized that printables alone aren't all you need in order to thrive as a teacher or homeschool parent. That's why I also created this show and got certified as a life coach to help you finally kick burnout to the curb and feel confident with whatever challenges come your way. With the right mindset strategies and new teaching inspiration, you're going to be well on your way to your best teacher life. Now let's go. I know we are still in April, but I am so ready for summer. I don't know about you. I bet you are too. And I know I mentioned this in previous episodes, but we have had the longest winter here in Utah that we have had in years. And we finally had some amazing weather the past week, and it's just been so nice. It's actually cooled down a little bit, but we're headed down to southern Utah this weekend to see my in-laws. So we're going to be in like 70-degree weather, and I just cannot wait for that. Summer is definitely my favorite time of year. Sometimes I feel like I live in the wrong place. I'm like maybe we need to move to like Arizona or something. So we're still close to family, but we get the warmer weather. That's what I love. Anyways, today we are talking about summer reading because, as you know, there are so many fun things that we love to do over the summer. We love to soak up the sun. We and our students get a break from the regular school routine. Our students or our children will be spending time swimming, playing outside, getting together with friends, roaming the neighborhood, and so much more. But we also want to try to help them avoid the summer slide that often happens when kids go like full, say, 3 months without instruction. And so it's great to spend obviously more time soaking up that sun, enjoying that summer, but there is a lot of learning loss that can happen when they're not engaging their minds for 3 months. And according to the National Summer Learning Association, the average student loses about 39% of their total school year gains during each summer. Now that is crazy, isn't it? However, one way that you can help combat this is by encouraging children to read over the summer. That will especially help with their reading skills, comprehension, and they can also learn a lot from the materials that they're reading too. So today we're going to talk about 3 strategies and then how you can use all 3 of those combined together to create a summer reading challenge that will make kids excited about reading over the summer. So this is going to help both school teachers and parents also, because if you are a parent, you can be doing this with your children at home. And that is what I plan on doing with my kids this summer. I want to make sure that we enjoy this summer, but also that we're reading and having a lot of fun with it. And you can even like read the book outside. Like, I mean, that's what I love to do as a grown up. And I plan on coming out with my kids and reading together out in the sun. Just a great time. But if you are a school teacher, you can still use this because you could talk to the children about it or put together a summer reading challenge that you send home with your students. It's kind of a good send off, like ending the school year and then being like, hey, this is how you can kind of keep things going over the summer. So this will be helpful either way. Okay, so engagement strategy number 1 is to encourage children to read a variety of texts through the summer, especially in a summer reading challenge. So I find a lot of children, my kids too, tend to pick kind of the same type of books all the time. And actually, my son, who's in 3rd grade right now, he loves graphic novels. And I know that is very common. But just today, actually, shortly before recording this podcast, I was like, Parker, we really need to start reading some chapter books more. And he's like, well, these are chapter books. They have chapters. I'm like, well, they are, but let's try something else. And at first he was like, I don't know. He was kind of like dragging his feet about it. But I was like, okay, let's just set a timer for 20 minutes. You can do it for 20 minutes. And guess what? That timer went off and he wanted to keep on reading that book. And I was so excited and so proud of him for doing that. And, sometimes as a teacher, we know when to challenge our students a little bit. And obviously our kids have their preferences, but it's nice to help them kind of step outside that box. Like even, for example, not even related to reading, but I knew that this would likely be this way with my son because recently my younger children were participating in this neighborhood play. And my oldest, he wasn't sure about doing it, but we're like, I'm just going to encourage you to audition. And so he did. And then he got in. I mean, everybody did, and they accepted him in and he was like, I'll just go to practices. I'm not sure if I want to do it. I'm like, okay, that's okay. So we started going. And then he was like, Mom and Dad, I'm really glad you made me audition for that play. He ended up having so much fun. So this is a way to kind of be like, hey, let's branch out a little bit and they'll discover new types of books that they will love. So one way I like to do this is first, obviously, you have to offer a variety of texts to give them those choices. So if you're a teacher, you could put together a list of like the different genres or actual titles of books that you would recommend, like that are from different genres. If you are a parent, you can obviously, either order books on Amazon that are from a variety of genres or, visit your local library and check out books so they have options to read. The one thing you can do is encourage them reading a variety of texts, but within that, let them choose. So like with chapter books, I let him choose what chapter book he wanted to read. I was like, what book sounds really interesting to you? And he ended up picking one that one of his friends was enjoying. So within that framework, still give them choice, because when kids get autonomy in their learning, it gets them more engaged in it. And what we don't want to do, what we want to avoid is, making students feel like reading is a chore. I can't stress enough how important it is to help children learn to love reading, and that we are there to just help them find other types of texts that they will love too. And no matter the book, there's something to be learned from it. So allowing children to select texts within, this broad framework of maybe you want to read like, a chapter book, or you want them to try out some like historical fiction or some, nonfiction. Maybe they're only reading novels. Like a broad category, let's try this type of book. But if they're reading nonfiction, what is it they want to learn about? Do they want to learn about lizards? That was one of my kids a couple of years ago. We had just actually gone down to my in-laws and they're like in the desert and we'd seen lizards. So then they're like, I want to learn about lizards. We're like, okay, let's find a book about it. So you can still within those genres, let them pick. So making sure they're reading a variety, but then within that variety, they get to choose. Okay, so a variety of text to choose from is engagement strategy number 1. Now, engagement strategy number 2 is setting goals with a summer reading challenge. So goals can be very motivating for anyone, but especially children. And especially when you help them set their own goals. And this is important because, as we discussed in the last engagement strategy, autonomy is a huge motivator for kids. When they get to make choices and have some say in their learning, they love that. When we can help children set reasonable goals for themselves, they will be more motivated to try to reach them. And a reading challenge is a great way to help students get summer reading goals. So just like children's favorite sports or their favorite video games, a reading challenge will give students something to work towards. And this could be a summer reading challenge at a local library or even a family challenge. But another thing you could do is what we have like in our summer reading challenge. Like if you are a member of Wife Teacher Mommy Club, go to the members library and type in summer reading challenge, or you can just go to our shop at wifeteachermommy.com/shop and search right there and just buy that if you'd like. We have a reading challenge where it's kind of preset where we have like the genres, but it is editable. So you can change it up to be exactly what will work well for you and your students or your children. And we have different levels where it's like different numbers of books. So you could like, together with the children be like, okay, which number of books is appropriate? And then what do we want to put in these, and kind of help them set their goals for the books. You could even let them pick the categories within reason, or, whatever you feel good about. We will get right back to the show in just a moment, but since you're listening to this episode, I bet you will also love our summer event, Educate and Rejuvenate, happening on June 27th and 28th, 2023. With your ticket purchase, you'll get live keynotes with Joe Dombrowski, aka Mr. D, and Christina Kuzmich to laugh and feel inspired. You would normally pay up to $75 just to see one of these keynotes. You'll also get a full speaker lineup with over 70 incredible speakers with a teacher track and a parent track, so you can choose your own adventure, and these sessions are pre-recorded to do on your own time. You'll have 10 full days to enjoy the pre-recorded sessions with a general admission ticket, so you don't need to feel rushed. You'll also get live coaching with me and certified coach Chrissy Nichols. We have both been certified by the Life Coach School, so you'll know you are in good hands. You'll also get a Step It workout with Brianna Smith, the co-founder of Step It Fitness, and a yoga/meditation with Lizzie Langston from the Postpartum Coach to jumpstart each day. You'll also get a certificate of completion for the credit hours completed, so you might be able to use this as PD credit. All of this is just $19. It is a total steal. So go to educateandrejuvenate.com to grab your ticket today. Okay, engagement strategy number 3 is reading together for the summer reading challenge. And I love reading together with my children. And obviously, this is one that you will do more if you are the parent doing this with your own children. But if you are a teacher, I would encourage the students to read together as a family, either with their parents or with their siblings or with a friend even. That reading together can be a great way to have more fun with it. And it can even be kind of like a book club where maybe like they and family members or friends are reading the same book and talking about it, or physically reading together. Either way is great. And also, it obviously depends on the ages of the children. Obviously, if you have very young children, like kindergarten, preschool, first grade, there might be more of just literally reading out loud together. And all of it is wonderful. When we read together with our families, it's a lot easier for children to create the habits than if they are simply reading on their own. And it can be encouraged in several ways. Like I mentioned, you can read a book aloud with your children. This works especially well for younger kids. And if you have children at similar reading levels, or an only child, you could choose one book for everyone in the family reads and have discussions about it, like we just mentioned. And if you have children at a variety of reading levels, you can set aside a time each day that everyone spends reading. Like you could call it like a family readathon, and everybody kind of has their own book and you're reading, but you're physically reading together. And then you can even talk about what you're reading. And again, as a teacher, you could like put together a letter and be like, hey, I really encourage families to read together over the summer, and put all of these tips together so the families have them, because a lot of parents don't know all these things. Parents aren't all teachers. And, we do have our homeschool parents who are like learning about these things, but most of the parents who, if they send their children to public school, they might not know as much about like reading engagement strategies. So you could like send home a letter that kind of goes over everything that I'm sharing today, and you can just quickly type it up and send that home. And if you're looking for a way to kind of combine all of these strategies together and make it super fun, be sure to check out that summer reading challenge that I mentioned in this episode. It's a perfect way for teachers to send their students home on summer break. You can have this challenge printed out, and there's actually a letter in there too. So then you don't have to type up that letter on your own. You can be like, hey, here's a reading challenge. It incorporates everything we've talked about, and it has the genres. It's really cute. It's like summer themed with like a yellow background. You can even, it's editable, so you can add the students' names on there, and it has enough for a class. So you can do it all at once. There are cute little bookmarks they can use that they can mark up. It is also great for parents to grab if they want to motivate their children to read over the summer. So if you want a lot of this already done for you where you don't have to think about it, you just want to have these really cute printables that your kids will be excited about, you can grab that at wifeteachermommy.com in our shop. Or if you're a Wife Teacher Mommy Club member, go into the club area with the resources and grab that. We will put the link to that in the show notes so you can grab that and use that if you would like. But again, you could also just take all of these strategies that I mentioned on this episode today and implement them on your own too. Okay, so let's kind of recap those reading strategies that I mentioned in this episode. So, first, engagement strategy number 1 is letting children choose from a variety of texts. So we want to expand their horizons and help them read different types of things, but then within there, while we're helping them expand their horizons, let them pick. So my example was like with my oldest, and he hadn't been reading chapter books much, and I wanted to kind of expand his horizons, but hey, let's try a chapter book, one that doesn't have pictures. But from there, I let him pick. I did not care what book he picked, because I know that if they get to pick, that they will enjoy the reading more, and it's just going to be a better experience for everybody. Engagement strategy number 2 is setting goals in your summer reading challenge and doing it alongside the children. So you could even talk about this if you're a teacher, you could do it as a class and talk about it before you send it home. And if you're a parent, you can really talk with your children and figure out what goals, how many books, which categories, and really customize it to your own liking. And for engagement strategy number 3, reading together. That can be physically reading the same book together, like reading out loud. It can be you are physically together, all reading your own books and then talking about it. Or it can be like you're separately at different times reading the same book and then you come together and talk about it. There are lots of different ways to read together, but no matter what, it's more just about kind of building that community around reading. And that really builds in accountability and just makes it more of an experience than doing it all on your own. So the Summer Reading Challenge will challenge students to read that variety of text over the summer, and it includes a book tracker, reading logs, awards, those bookmarks I mentioned, and motivational posters that are really cute that you can like put on your bulletin board or on your fridge just to remind kids about reading. They say the posters, they're super cute. They're like flip-flops and swimsuits and bright colors and polka dots. One of them says summer fun is reading in the sun, and the other one says reading is a splash. They're just really cute. And then there are also awards that are editable. So when kids finish it, you can like give them this actual certificate that they like finish their reading challenge. That always feels really good. And you could always choose like some type of reward that they get to do when they finish this. So that can be like the family goes out to dinner together or they do some special activity. Totally up to the family. So, if you're a teacher sending this home, they can just do the certificate as well. But I would highly recommend checking this out. Whether you're a teacher or you're a parent, you can find it super handy. And there are 2 versions, level 1 and level 2. And the differences in the levels are the number of books and the categories suggested. So level 1 suggests 25 books and 5 genres plus one that's your choice. And then level 2 suggests 42 books and 9 genres plus your choice. And each is editable. So you get to choose the suggested genres. And we already have suggestions typed in. So it is print and go, but you can delete and edit it as you please. And you can even get creative with it if you want. If you want to do instead of genres, you can type in other categories, such as like books from an award-winning author, or books your parents read as a child, or a book, the cover is your favorite color, or a book with an interesting cover. Anything you could really think of, you could put there as a category. So you could really have fun with that. And it does have that teacher info and parent letter. So it's easy for you to send it home if you're a teacher. So again, this really works well, whether you're a parent or a teacher. Okay, so those were the 3 engagement strategies. And for more about summer review and other ways besides reading, because reading does help with the summer slump a lot, but you might want to also review math or review like language arts and make sure they're not losing all of those skills. We do have summer reading packets. So if you are a Wife Teacher Mommy Club member, be sure to go in and grab those as part of your club membership. Remember, you have access to all these incredible resources, so be sure to take advantage of that. If you're not a Wife Teacher Mommy Club member, one, you can go look into the club if you'd like. I would love to see you there. We do those incredible coaching calls too. But also you can go to the shop and just find those as well as the reading challenge. So I will link to the summer learning packets in the show notes. But also we have a podcast episode that I aired last year that talks all about summer learning strategies for math and language arts. We talked about different board games I like, different activities you can do. And I even did another episode about road trip learning. So how when you're on the road doing your trips throughout the summer, you can learn all along that way too. So that is episode number 11. It was really back when I first started the podcast. It's called Summer Review Must Do's for Math and Language Arts. I would highly recommend checking that one out. And then I also did episode 15 with Heidi and Emily from Second Story Window, all about designing your dream summer. If you're really in the summer mood, be sure to check out those episodes from last year where we're talking about summer and road trip learning. I know this episode this week was a little bit shorter, so it's a great time to go back and catch up either on summer episodes from last year or on the interviews that I've been doing with our incredible Educate and Rejuvenate presenters. So I would love for you to check all of those out, and be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss Tuesday's interview with Teresa Quant about escape games, another exciting engagement strategy that you can use in your classroom or with your own children. Really excited for you to check out that conversation. I already did that interview with her and it was so much fun. So really excited to talk escape games with you on Tuesday. So hit subscribe so you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you're ready to take the next step, come grab your ticket to join me at Educate and Rejuvenate, the education event of the year on June 27th and 28th, 2023. This year, we have two incredible live keynotes, Joe Dombrowski, aka Mr. D, and best-selling author and video creator Christina Kuzmich. We have over 60 incredible speakers speaking on topics such as math, language arts, reading, social emotional learning, classroom management, homeschooling, and tackling burnout. We start the day with a workout together each morning. We have panels with the presenters, and you'll even get to join live coaching with me, and even raise your hand if you would like to be coached. Plus, we give away tons of prizes throughout the event too. It is the best PD you could ever attend, and all of this is happening from the comfort of your own home. It's just $19 for a ticket, and past attendees have said that this is what finally lit a fire under them to enjoy teaching again, and that it was well worth every penny. Go to educateandrejuvenate.com to learn more about the 2023 event, or if you're listening to this later, that link will show you what's up next as we will continue to do events like this. I hope to see you at Educate and Rejuvenate.